And as journalists, when you are looking at the budget, actually from here, go and look at the budget. That will tell you whether these things we are talking about will move or will not move. And one of the biggest challenges I had as peers was I was very friendly with the press, so we were always having conversations. And I talked to them about a book called Why Nations Fail. I remember I invited like 3 of them to the ministry and told them, you read this book, Why Nations Fail. The thesis here is that if you look at a government policy, look at it with 2 lenses. Is it an inclusive policy or is it an extractive policy? An extractive policy is where you know people have designed this to seek rent, okay? And that in the end it will really not have the desired. I think if we interrogate the budget in that sense, inclusivity versus extraction, you will see that the money is being extracted, so if the sector doesn't respond, you know why it's not responding. Policies, they're there. Actually, the first thing I asked the officers there when I came, because like I came from the outside, is why are things not changing? And the answer is political economy. That's what they told me. It's because of political economy. Now, as journalists, for every, especially in the areas where scandals are very frequent, because they are the same areas for 30 years, you should have figured it out by now. That is where the problem is. Okay? So, you need to figure out the political economy around that so that we don't clap when there's a pronouncement that we have set aside 10 billion for fertilizer. But you know things are not changing because it's an extractive policy. And the same, every time around the season when farmers were harvesting, people would start, why is the government not buying fertilizer? Or buying maize? Why is the government not buying maize? Why does the government need to buy maize? It's not a market player. It's not a market player at all. It has no role. If it goes there, it distorts the market. Where will the millers get the maize from? We put it in NCB, it rots there. Because government is not designed for business. If the government buys fertilizer and sells fertilizer, what will the agrovet dealer say? Because every farmer is going to chase the government fertilizer because they are told it's cheap, even if it's the wrong one. Okay? So the agro dealer is stuck with their fertilizer there. And then in the end, those jobs are lost. Probably the agrovet also closes, the sector is affected. One time we had taken some visitors to Limuru to see smallholder farmers who are growing potatoes. And so the farmer just talked, he was briefing and he said, you know, this government fertilizer program, when it came now, it fertilizes from 7,000 to 3,500. Although I had done my soil testing, but now the fertilizer that I really need for this is 7,000. It's not the one being subsidized by the government. So I decided to buy the government one, which means he's not going to get the yields that he wants. And he's going to mess his soil even further because he's putting in the wrong things. Probably the things that are already there, he's adding more than he needs. So most of these issues, I think we can work together so that you understand the origins and the thinking behind these policies. We have all the policy experts. The story, you're critical because you see where the problems would come and how it's impacting our farmers.